Loafers are one of those items of shoes that look good no matter what is currently trending in fashion. To me, they have this sort of timeless appeal and aspect to them, and that's why I love them so much. If you're in the market for a new pair of loafers, or you just want to see the difference between a $900 pair of loafers versus a $200 pair of loafers and everything in between, this video is for you. What we're going to be focusing on today is I'm going to be comparing 5 varying types of loafers at 5 varying price points. We're going to get into sizing, comfort, craftsmanship, and so much more. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand what your value of your money will get you based on which price point you decide to buy into for your next pair of loafers. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What it do? It's nice to meet you. Let's talk loafers. Starting off with one of the most iconic new school pair of loafers, we have the Doc Marten Adrian Tassel loafers. Yeah, they're shiny. They're real shiny. The Adrian loafers originally debuted in 1980 and over 40 years later are still a wildly popular pair of loafers. There are a few things that I really like about these loafers and a few things that I truly hate. The first thing I like is the shape and look of these loafers. No wonder these are TikTok's most popular, most recommended pair of tassel loafers. They look awesome and definitely lend themselves to more contemporary styles. The Adrian loafers are Goodyear welted, which is often heralded as the pinnacle of footwear construction as it pertains to longevity. Typically, the Goodyear welt provides water protection, durability, stability, and resolability. That's a lot of ability for one pair of loafers. But because the Doc's outer sole is fused in place, it takes away some of the benefits of the Doc Martens being Goodyear welted. Now, what I hate about these shoes is break-in time and comfort. In fact, when I picked these Doc Martens up for this video, because I've had Docs in the past, but I've sold them, so I picked these up for this video, and when I went to purchase them, the sales rep actually recommended during the course of this sale that I should buy a heel, kind of like a little piece of fabric to add to the heel of these shoes to help with break-in and discomfort. That's how much even the sales reps know that this isn't a very comfortable pair of loafers at the beginning or the middle or the end, in my opinion. When it comes to sizing for the Doc Marten Adrian loafers, I recommend going either true to size or half a size down, depending on how wide or narrow your foot is. For me, for this entire video, so that you know, I have a flat foot profile, I have a pretty narrow foot, and I have a low arch. The Adrian loafers are a bit of a wide shoe. They feel fine true to size in terms of sizing, but just the upper and the way the leather, the way the shoe feels on my foot, it hurts my foot. And I can't wear it for more than just an hour or two at a time. Remember, sizing is objective, fit and feel is subjective. So go try these on if you can before you buy them, or if you're interested in them, try them on first and then make an informed decision about what you want to do. If you want to buy them secondhand or if you want to buy them new, that's the route I would go. Alternatives to the Doc Marten Adrian Tassel loafers at about the same price point include loafers such as Loafers Tassel loafers. These are a bit more expensive, but they kind of offer the same look and feel as Docs, but just a little bit more premium materials. Thursday Boot Company's Lincoln loafer and Johnston & Murphy's Hayes penny loafer. Now, my favorite loafers at the about $100 to $250 price range has to be the loafers that GH Bass has to offer. For my foot profile, which I just told you about, it's narrow, it's flat, it has a low arch. The GH Bass & Co. loafers just feel and fit my foot the very best of all of the kind of entry-level price point loafers that I've tried. I have a lug sole suede version, which is great for day-to-day, all-day type of activities. And I also have this leather upper version and leather outsole version, which has some benefits, but also has some pretty big pitfalls in my opinion too. The leather sole, leather upper loafers like the Docs are stiff and aren't as comfortable to wear for long periods of time. Visually, these loafers look fantastic, and from a style standpoint, feel timeless and classic, but the comfort can feel lacking at times, especially if you're coming from sneakers or slip-ons or clogs or Crocs or something like that. For sizing, I went true to size on these Whitney leather sole loafers by GH Bass, and the same goes for the suede lug sole version penny loafers that I have from GH Bass. True to size seems to work. Now, if you save up a bit of money and you're looking for a top of the line pair of loafers at that $250 to $400 price range, you're kind of moving up a little bit in price point when it comes to that, These are my favorite loafers in that price range, and they are by a company called Morehouse. I have two versions for you here, the tassel loafer, and I also have a brown penny loafer. Off the bat, the first thing you'll like about these loafers if you decide to pick them up is the fact that their leather uppers are soft and break-in is much easier compared to all of the other loafers on this list. The inner footbed of Morehouse always feels a bit wider than what I typically like for my shoes because I have that narrow foot. So for me, I go down half a size, but I always put a foam or runner's insert inside these loafers to boost their comfortability and to just have that like nice secure feel when I'm wearing them. That's something that's subjective to me, and once again, it's how I like things to fit, which is different from sizing. Sizing and fit is different. Remember, sizing is objective, fit and feel is subjective. These loafers have a proper Goodyear welt and a clacky leather outsole. Personally, I love the sound of leather loafers walking on hardwood floor or concrete or any hard substance or surface. It makes a really beautiful sound, and I think it adds to the kind of energy of an outfit when you hear that footstep, that leather outsole footstep walking on a hard surface. I just love that sound. But because these are so expensive, I know a lot of people who also like adding rubber or additional outsoles to the bottom of their loafer so that their loafer doesn't look like this. If you keep the leather outsole, it'll start to kind of look dingy and used, like not dingy, but it'll start to look kind of very used like this pair looks right now. Remember, for these, I went down half a size and they fit and feel fantastic. I put the insert inside and I'm golden, I'm butter. The inserts that I get are sometimes from Amazon, sometimes I take them out of other shoes. That's all you need to do and you're good to go. Now, the only bad thing about these loafers, well, there's two things. The first thing is the price. At $400 USD, it's a pretty steep price for anyone who's just getting into loafers. You can tell it's a quite beautiful pair of shoes. I actually really love the way that this tassel loafer looked. I was a bit skeptical at first because it doesn't have like the beef rolls or anything like that on the loafer, but these are expensive. And second, you can't see it maybe here, but they tend to crease at the forefoot at the vamp relatively easily, and I've seen other people make comments about Morehouse's loafers that they crease a little bit too easily for their liking. A crease, just so we all are on the same page, is just a little line that goes across the forefoot of the shoe that shows that there's a bit of flexing happening with your toes and the shoe. But I don't really mind creasing. In fact, I like creasing. Creasing means that someone's wearing a shoe. It means someone's using the shoe. Some would argue that creasing means that you're not taking care of the shoe, but creasing is a natural thing in most items of footwear. When you bend your foot or when you bend down, your foot kind of curls up, and that's just natural for what happens when you move, when you have feet and when you're a human being. When you're a person, your toes curl or bend, whatever it is. And that happens, and it affects your loafers. Overall, I still highly rate and highly recommend Morehouse's loafers. And a lot of their other footwear is fantastic as well. Their Oxfords, their Derbies. I'm a big fan of Morehouse. So an interesting alternative to Morehouse are these Jacques Solivier loafers. These are the Hades, I'm pretty sure their name is. Let's talk about Jacques Solivier. From the standpoint of design, I think the kilty look of this loafer is what really got me interested in maybe picking up this pair. And not maybe, obviously I did pick it up. Its uniqueness really drew me to it. My first few wears in these have been middle of the road though. So these aren't Goodyear welted, but they do have a Blake stitch construction, which still means that they are resolable if you take them to the proper cobbler. The polished leather on these feels a bit stiffer, almost same stiffness as the Adrian loafers. Compared to the Morehouse loafers, these don't have that same premium leather upper feel that I would kind of hope and want for a loafer of this price point. The last thing that's really interesting about these loafers is that, as you can see, they actually have a rubber outsole put on top of the leather outsole. So as I was saying, like a lot of people, they like having rubber outsoles put on top of their leather outsoles. It allows for better longevity of the outsole, allows the outsole to kind of not break down, because leather, unlike rubber, is not going to be something that lasts as long because it just takes more wear and tear, leather does. So they added the rubber outsole to this already. And if you prefer the feel of a rubber outsole or something that's more protective than a pair of leather, and The thing about rubber is that it's more grippy as well too, like it doesn't slip as much as leather does. Then maybe consider the Jacques Oliviers if you really like that aspect in a loafer. For sizing, I went down a half size on these, or a kind of full size. Usually I'm an EU 45. I guess it depends. Sometimes I'm EU 45, sometimes I'm EU 44. Sometimes I'm EU 44 and a half. It really depends on the sizing convention of the brand, but I went EU 44 on these, and that's the same for the Morhasses, which is about a half size down from my true size. All right, the last price tier that I have for this video are the infamous Gucci 1953 horse bit loafers. These come in at a whopping $990. And after tax, you're easily paying over $1,000 for a single pair of loafers. The question you might be asking is, what does a $990 pair of loafers have that a $400, $200, $100 pair of loafers don't have? Looks are of course, they're subjective, but I don't think there is another pair of loafers that are a part of the 5 or 4 versions that I've compared that are as iconic looking and as iconic just feeling in the hand as this or these pairs of loafers. These pairs of loafers, this pair of loafer, this pairs of loafers, these pair of loafers. English, man, I'm struggling right now. The leather on these is truly a tier above the other loafers. It's soft right out the box, and there was minimal break-in time needed. Now, a bit of context, I didn't spend the full $990, $1,000 on these loafers. I actually picked them up on eBay secondhand for a little under half of that price, which is still more than all the other pairs of loafers on this list. But it does kind of open Pandora's box, which we'll talk about later on in this video, which is buy more expensive or just any of these loafers secondhand. And what you won't have to deal with is break-in as much. Some of the negatives of the Gucci Horsebit 1953s is, well, obviously cost. We have to bring up cost. They're an exorbitantly expensive pair of loafers. And if you're buying to this level of product, you really have to care about this. Like, you have to care about it to just a really high level. And obviously you have to also be able to afford something like this, because this is not something that you just go out and buy. You have to really plan, budget, and save and think about, is it worth having a $900 pair of loafers in my closet? Another thing that's really interesting about these loafers is that, I don't know if you can, I think you can see this. If you look at both of these loafers, right, you can see that the Jacques Olivier loafers, which are these right here in my right hand, and the Gucci's in my left hand, you can see the difference in thickness of the midsole and outsole. And that's something that I kind of view it as a relatively negative thing for the Gucci Horsebits, is that while it looks quite beautiful, it looks absolutely stunning just how low profile and beautiful this is, for me, there's a bit of a worry that because the midsole outsole situation is so thin and it's all leather, that over time, it won't really hold up, and it won't hold up as long as something like the Soliviers, especially compared to something like the Doc Martens. Like, it's just not built to be worn every single day and kind of be put through the ringer in terms of wears and steps and going about wearing these all the time. Which you would think it would be the opposite. Like, a pair of loafers that are $900 would be built to be worn all the time, because you want to get as much value as you can for these loafers. But in a lot of ways, and with a lot of luxury items and luxury products, it feels, and the construction of it denotes like it's more about status than it is about function and form. It feels like that, right? I'm not saying it is all about that, but it kind of feels like that. The outsole is a Blake stitch, so you do get resolability. It's not the Goodyear welt, but a Blake stitch is still a very trusted and good and valuable type of construction for a pair of loafers. These have a really interesting and soft to the touch specialized inner lining, which feels great when you put them on. But other than that, let me take the shoe tree out. You also get the loafers kind of have this, like, the Horsebit it sounds kind of good when you shake it. You can't even hear it right now. But when you take steps with this loafer on, the Horsebit sounds good. Other than that, though, you don't get much more from a true value standpoint with a $900 pair of loafers than you do with some of the other loafers that are a part of this list. And so it kind of begs the question is, should you ever pay $990 for the Gucci Horsebits? Probably not. From a value standpoint, when it comes to the Gucci loafers, it seems like There are some bells and whistles that are nice, but for 3 times, 2 times, 9 times the price of some of the other loafers that I'm recommending, I don't know if these are for the majority of people. They really aren't. Unless you truly love the look of the 1953 horse bit, you know about its history, you know about its prestige and how it's classic. Maybe that sells you on it, but in reality, like this is a tough loafer to recommend to majority of people unless you're a true dog down fashion MF. And you know if you're one of those people if you are. Now, before I give you my final verdict on what I think is the best pair of loafers for the value of money that you spend for it, there's something that I think is important to note with each and every one of these different brands that you can do to help bring even more value to your potential purchase. And that is to buy second hand. I got the Gucci second hand. I've gotten a pair of GH Bass's and Doc Martens secondhand. And what buying secondhand does is that, for one, it reduces the cost, the barrier to entry, which is the biggest cost for everyone for fashion and for a lot of these things. It reduces that cost, and it reduces the amount of time that takes to actually break in the shoes so that you can wear them more comfortably sooner and longer. You don't have to go through that pain and struggle of trying to break in a pair of loafers, especially when you're trying to break in these guys. I never could break these loafers in, and I ended up selling them and having them in person again. They look really good. Remember, buying secondhand will reduce cost, and it will reduce the time of break-in, and it's good for the environment. That's like a third little hidden bonus one. Let's get a word in for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Are you interested in making your very own website for a brand or creative project? Squarespace offers a comprehensive amount of features to help you create the website that you've always wanted. If you want to sell your products direct to consumer, or if you want to showcase your body of work, Squarespace makes it easy to do that and more. Currently, I'm using my Squarespace website as a hub for all of my content and as a way to direct those interested to my podcast and social media. If you need a design to help nudge you into creating your first website, this is your sign. Visit squarespace.com/DrewJoyner for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. My final verdict on all of these loafers that we've compared here today, when we're talking about best value, cost, wearability, comfort, sizing, all of the things, drumroll please, my highest recommendation goes to GH Bass & Co. and what GH Bass & Co. has to offer as it pertains to loafers. To me, visually, these loafers look stunning with the outfits that I like to wear, and they're great for people with narrow feet like myself. I can wear this pair in particular literally all day in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, in the winter. Literally, I've worn these in 4 seasons. And while yes, there are instances of quality control issues, like the upper separating from the lower of the shoe in particular, I just put these through so much, and they're not a pair of sneakers. I mean, the fact that they maybe have a little bit of separation, but anytime I wear them, no one ever calls me on the fact that, you know, these loafers look beat or anything like that. Like, to me, that says a lot about GH Bass & Co. And I just really like these loafers. These are my favorite, most worn pair of loafers in my wardrobe. Now, which pair of loafers do you want an individual review on? Maybe I'll go more in depth with the Gucci 1953 horsebit loafers, because I feel like these need an entire video and there aren't that many on YouTube to begin with. So maybe I'll go hard on a review on that, but let me know what you would want down in the comments. As always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2024. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and more. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful rest of your day. A bientôt. Peace. Yo, what is good post vid? Here's a fist bump for the one time. Camera's so far away I can't even reach. Bop! Gotta get him 2 times in there. Reach! Bop! Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. It means the most to me. PVV for the post vid question. PVV for the post vid question of the day. Lighting has been changing like crazy on me. I don't know, right now I'm like a little bit sweating because it's like spring in New York and it's getting hotter, and I'm wearing Japanese denim right now, and I'm trying to make a video and I'm talking and I'm stuttering and I keep making mistakes, but you guys probably can't even notice because the way I'll edit it, it won't even come out like I'm making any mistakes. But regardless, for the post vid question of the day, let me know, do you own a pair of loafers? Hashtag PVV when you answer. And if you do own a pair of loafers, let me know which brand and what type of loafers they are. I started with these, then I moved to the GH Basses, and I love the GH Basses way more than I love these. And from GH Bass, I was like, you know what? There's probably a brand out there that can do it a little bit better than GH Bass. That's how I got into Morehouse and Jacques Olivier. And then I wanted to see what a big boy bad Mamo Jamo loafer would look like. And so I picked up the Gucci's, and I like the Gucci's as well. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I still enjoy the Gucci's. It's just some things with them. But anyways, let me know what loafers you have. Let me know down in the comments. Hashtag PVV when you answer. We'll see you in the next video. Abianto. Peace.